What's going on, fam? Welcome to 898. Q and Swole. Big time Q, big time Swole. Big time sick for the games. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. Bam. Get some. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Bam. 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 Oh. Oh. All right, fam, we're doing a live Q&A. Well, I got a lot of questions from Instagram. I'm sure I'm going to feel plenty from Facebook. All questions are welcome. Gonna get it. Bam. Bam. Here we go. Y'all, fitness without the bullshit.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, 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 test, testicles, testicles. Oh, thank you. Welcome, everyone, to episode 898 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps, and I am twirling. Yes, I am twirling today. Welcome, everyone, to episode 898 of the Daily Sleaze. Thanks for joining me live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, wherever you are watching Papa Sleazio. We're doing an open Q&A Sunday, Funday, Q and Anus, a Q and Swole, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to take a lot of questions that I posted from on my story, and I'm going to take your questions that you posted, and any questions that come up live. I'm going to do as many as I can, or as many as I feel like, because bottom line, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. You hear me? You hear me, Instagram? You hear me, Facebook? You hear me, podcast realm? I'll do whatever the fuck I want, because I'm Papa fucking Swolio. I'll do what I do what I please, beaches. Thank you for joining. If it's your first time to the podcast, make sure you drop in the comments, say Virgin Podcast here. We're going to pop some podcast cherries, I suspect there's going to be a lot of new people joining in today. And you can always catch the podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Go to swolenormousx.com. That is swolenormousx.com, and click on podcast. And then you can choose your app and subscribe. And then you can get notified of all the new ones. You could listen to the old ones. You can make some gains. Virgin Podcast. The Princess Belle. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome. So if it is your first time, Virgin Podcast, pop my cherry. Oh, that sounds naughty, doesn't it? It does sound naughty. So let's just get on with it. I digress. Let's just jump into it. So first off, let's kind of warm up a little bit. No AC needed today. The weather in Florida is awesome right now. I disagree. I am sweating my balls off. Literally, I'm sweating my balls off. I just went I was actually live a few minutes ago. I was walking the pup. And if you caught that live cast, you would have been there when the pit bull ran out from someone's backyard. I'm literally walking the dog, and I look to my right, and I just see this purebred, and it was a beautiful dog. It was one of those like dark brownish pit bulls, just completely, no spots, just one color. And it just made eye contact and then just sprinted out from this person's side yard. And the guy and a girl, and there's a little puppy out there. They were just playing outside in the side yard, but there was no fence, nothing, just ran out. And my first reaction is this dog is going to eat my dog, because this dog is a small dog. And so I literally get right between, and I'm like, I lock the leash, and I I had all this stuff in my hands. I just wasn't, I should have just picked her up. So that was my mistake. But, I swung her to the side and I'm like, stuck my leg out and I kicked the dog. And I was literally going to fight this dog. And he looked like he just wanted to play, he, she, but I don't know that. I don't know that. My first instinct, I'm assuming that dog's going to come and tear some throats out. And I love pit bulls. I love pit bulls. They get a bad rep, but at the same time, it has nothing to do, it's not prejudice against pit bulls or anything. However, you never know how they're raised. You never know how the two dogs are going to react. And when you have a big dog like a pit bull and a small dog like a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix, they don't just play together. A pit bull playing could kill the small one. You never know. So wasn't going to risk that, but that was random. That was a little chaotic. So that was on my live cast. If you want to watch the last live cast, that was fun. That was exciting. So I'm hot from the sun. I'm a little sweaty from the sun. I'm a little amped up because of that. Plus I had a lot of caffeine in my system. So I'm a little on edge. I'm a little bit riled up. I'm a little bit ramped up today. You're my favorite ass swole. Oh, thank you, Sean. Thank you. You're so kind. So let's get into some of these questions. Like I said, I posted in my story. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you're not. I posted in my story a little sticker, ask me a question for today's episode. So those that did, thank you very much. You will get your questions answered. And if you have questions about anything, any kind of questions, pop them up and I will get to them if I can. Facebook I might have to scroll back through Facebook. Facebook could be tough for me to get to quickly because sometimes the comments disappear, but I'll get to as soon as I can. So let's do some of these Instagram questions, and you can post up questions here on Facebook and anywhere else you're watching, and we'll just get into it. So that being said, I told you where to find the podcast. I welcomed everyone. I said hi, told you about the dog fight. It wasn't really a dog fight, but it felt like a dog fight. I was fighting the dog. I don't want that dog to play with my biche. She's laying there right now, all tired from the events. All right, so let's get into first question. From IG. This one is from, let's see here. This one's from Coda Bowers. Underutilized exercises, ? Underutilized exercises, ? I don't know if it's hard to say underutilized, like what exercises are underutilized. I think body parts are underutilized. Body parts are undertrained. The glutes are undertrained. The glutes are under-isolated. The calves are undertrained. Forearms are undertrained. Many muscles, the posterior deltoid, the rotator cuff, stabilizers, I would say all those are undertrained. It's the ones that aren't superficial. It's the ones that aren't sexy to train. It's the ones that most people want abs. Most people want bigger shoulders, bigger chest, lats, glutes, but people aren't doing the exercises that are going to allow their body to look better, to be more aesthetically complete. And that's a big deal, because if you look more aesthetically complete, you're going to be, in most cases, more balanced. And that's where I don't agree with a lot of people saying, oh, function and aesthetics, they're not the same thing. In many cases, they are, because if you look aesthetically put together and you have the proper muscle proportions and ratios, you're going to oftentimes have the proper development that's going to balance out around the joints. That doesn't mean that you have good stabilizer support but at the same time, if you're working the muscles evenly, you're going to be more of a balanced person physically, at least with tension around the joints. That's why bodybuilders and people that train evenly and proportionately, that do bodybuilding and try to develop each muscle maximally and evenly and proportionally, they generally have less injury risk because they're not doing random shit that's often repetitive movements or high impact and high risk exercises. Abdeal6013 will take this live one on IG right now. I train at night after 10 hours at work, which I enjoy my job. Okay, is that better than training in the morning? There is no better or worse. It's your choice. I prefer to train first thing in the morning if I have a choice. So if I had a set schedule, like a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 10, whatever it was, I would optimally choose to train first because it's a better way to start your day, in my opinion. I think it's better to start your day with a win. I think it's a better way to stay consistent. If you train at the end of a day, there are more things during the day that can go wrong, that can make you feel exhausted, mentally stressed, that can get in the way of getting your workout in after. Something might happen that might take you away. You have some errands to do at the end of the day. You have something that comes up, some schedule change. You have to stay late at work. there are more opportunities where you will fall off and be less consistent, which is a huge key in making progress. So if you train first thing in the day, you start your day off with a win, you're guaranteed to get your workout in, you got it done. Nothing that goes wrong the rest of the day can fuck up your workout because you got it done. And that's a huge hack that a lot of people miss, the concept of getting something done and making sure, because then your fitness is done. Like that's completely consistent. You can completely control getting your fitness done if you do it first thing in the morning. And then whatever stress and random shit and chaos that life throws at you the rest of the day doesn't affect you as much. Consistency is so huge. Good question. All right, drop your questions. Keep coming in. Let's see. Here we go. Is there an app? This is from Josh Eager 11 on Instagram. Shinstagram. Swolestagram. I'm going to create a new app, Swolestagram. Is there an app or YouTube series that you would recommend for yoga? Well, I'm going to do a shameless plug right now because I don't know what else is out there, which is why I focus on my own shit and I create my own shit. I create my own shit the best of my ability, and I focus on creating the best content for my members, and I have full yoga classes in swolenormousx.com. So if you are already a Swole Enormous X member and you do the yoga classes, drop a comment below. Float some hearts, rep Swole Enormous X a little bit. My X fam, what up? So if you're interested in full yoga classes, all my programs and nutrition, go check it out, swolenormousx.com. So you set me up for that one. But you can look up on YouTube, you can Google it. There's tons of stuff out there, of course. There's tons of stuff out there. But at the same time, when you go looking on YouTube and you look for free stuff and you look for random things, you usually have to piece things together and it's hard to know who to trust. It's hard to know what is good information, what's a good class, what's a bad class. You don't find as much organization. It's not all set in one place and it's not progressive. So I have my own, I teach classes in there, and I also have an integrative yoga therapist, and she's amazing. Alex is amazing, and she does a ton of full yoga classes. So we have yin classes, we have prop classes, we have wall classes, we have level 1, level 2 vinyasa flows, beginner classes. So there's all stuff, and there's new classes every month. So check it out, swolenormousx.com. That's my answer to that, and I'm sticking to it. Check it out. All right, next one. McClellan Ryan on Instagram, my go-to cheat meal. Good question. My go-to cheat meal, which is interesting because I really don't, I'm trying to think, because the food that I like to eat is the food that I already eat. I don't really have necessarily a cheat meal, but I guess when I do splurge, I consider sushi a cheat meal. I guess sushi and chicken wings. I guess I'll say that. That would be, if I'm eating those things, it's off. I know they're not as unhealthy as some of you might think, like, oh my God, that's really a lot healthier than I eat normally. But that would be something that's off because I enjoy all the things that I eat. So because I enjoy the foods that I eat, which is great, I feel like I'm cheating when I eat my normal food because I love it so much. But if I was going to eat something out of my normal, and like, okay, this is not really going to be the healthiest thing, it would be sushi or chicken wings. Chicken wings are worse than, I don't know, sushi's bad. I get like a headache from like the MSG and the sodium and whatever's in the sushi, usually. And who knows, probably just the quality of whatever it is when you go to like a sushi buffet or any place. But chicken wings can be really brutal because you get a lot of sugar in the sauces and things like that. But of course you can modify that. And, you go chicken wings, you're not getting organic, free range chicken. You're getting whatever just lost a cockfight in the backyard when you go to these places to get chicken wings. But I do love chicken wings. I always have. You're the main veins to get those gains. Thank you. Got to run. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, Sean. You should have Alex on the daily. Well, we've talked about it. She's really busy. So we've been talking about getting her on the podcast many times. We just haven't really followed through. But yeah, she will be, Oliver, for sure. Amanda Moore, my husband, is setting up our Florida room as a home gym. Good man. I'd marry him. We have a basic weight bench with a few attachments and a room for my yoga. Any suggestions on equipment besides the bench? Ooh. Well, home gyms are very strategic. It depends on your space, which I know nothing about. It depends on your budget, which I know nothing about. It depends on your goals, which I really know nothing about. If you just have a basic weight bench, I would recommend, depends on your space, this might not be in the cards for you, I would recommend a squat cage. And you can get some of these things that are actually really inexpensive. You can see on Rogue, I think Rogue has those ones that like fold out from the wall, but you can get a lot of these things used. People buy them and then never use them, right? They turn into clothing racks. But if you have a squat cage and a bench, you could do any kind of bench press, incline, decline, pull-ups. You could do rows, deadlifts. You can put bands around the squat cage, and it's great for home because when you have those supports, if you've seen them, and most of you know what I'm talking about, the squat cages, the power racks, you can put the supports in. That way, if you're squatting, if you're at home, you don't have a spotter. If you're at a gym and something happens, you could either get a spotter or people are there that are going to help you in an emergency situation. But if you have the supports up there and you squat and let's say you can't get up, like, oh shit, rather than break your back and fall and be like, 911 style, you have the supports there at the bottom that are going to protect your floor. They're going to protect your body. So it's a great way to train by yourself when you're at home. That's a thing that most people overlook is when you're training at home, there's a lot of risk because there's no one around that's going to help you. There's no one around that's like, oh shoot, call an ambulance. You got to protect yourself, especially if you're training hard. You don't have a spotter in your garage always. Brad on Instagram, Bowflex dial-up dumbbells, a ball TRX. That's a possibility. If you're going to get dumbbells, the dial-up ones are great because you can spend a couple $100 and get it up to 50, 60 pounds plus in one set. Take up a lot of space. But yeah, I mean, if I had to do one piece of equipment, free weights, get the bar, get the cage, get some plates, and you'll be straight. My suggestion, my recommendation. You asked, so I told you. All right, next question. Shari Cooper. We got two from Shari. We'll do them both. Let's do one. What are some good stretches for the iliopsoas, pain, and tightness? You can do the iliopsoas is a hip flexor for those that don't know. And you can do any kind of stretching. Make sure you keep a posterior tilt when you're doing your stretches. That way you'll maximize the ability of that muscle to stretch. You can do your yoga, your classic crescent pose, kneeling or off the ground. A lot of yoga. Most yoga poses will, when you're doing hip extension, will get the iliopsoas and the hip flexor. And there's a couple kneeling ones I just can't explain. Like, hey, do this stretch, but practice your yoga. Just make sure that you're maintaining a neutral spine. You're maintaining a neutral pelvis. You're trying to posteriorly tilt the pelvis, right? Like I mentioned this past week, we're talking about leg training, sucking in the stomach and trying to pour water out the back end of the bucket. If your hips were a bucket of water, you're pouring water out the back end, kind of tucking your tail. So if you're doing your stretching, and that's another thing that people forget when they do stretches, they forget to have good posture during the stretch. If you're trying to lift weights and you're trying to hit certain muscles, you want good form, right? To protect yourself. When you're doing stretching, you need good form too, to make sure that you're stretching the muscles you're trying to stretch. Okay. Always shop used. Nobody. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree on checking out Craigslist, OfferUp, Let Go, and those sites and things like that, and Facebook Marketplace, because a lot of people buy. That's really the best place if you're trying to build out a gym, unless you're really nitpicky and you want to spend money and get stuff new. Weights don't go bad unless they're in really bad shape. Even if they're rusty, you can scrub them and, polish them or, coat them or whatever. A lot of times people buy stuff all the time. A lot of times. Most of the time people buy shit and never use it. And then they sell it. It becomes a clothing rack or just becomes something that takes up space in the garage, and they can't wait for you to take it. Just come. You have to pick it up. Pay us here. Just fucking get out of my garage, right? Super common. Super common. Cheers, Hemp Mom. Hemp Mom. I like that name. The second part of the question from Shari. Do you still do one-on-one training? Not in person, but actually what's interesting, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a preview that some new aspects of Swolenormous X is launching. So I am launching a coaching division of Swolenormous X premium membership. So you can stay on the lookout for that. We got a lot of big things coming this year. So for people that are looking for more personal attention, one-on-one coaching calls and things like that, you can keep your eyes peeled. So no matter what membership you have, you can always upgrade, change, switch around, and modify. So not in person though, Sherry. Not at this time. Here we go. Gareth Hutchinson, trying to convince the missus to move to Florida from Scotland. Any tips? Ooh, well, any tips? Florida is very different. if you're in northern Florida or southern Florida, it's two different states, it's two different worlds. So if you don't want to learn Spanish or as much Spanish, then you can move more towards, if you want to live more, how about this? If you want to live more in the United States, then you're looking for more north of Palm Beach area, Palm Beach and north, or like western, like Tampa. So if you want more like America, Florida, United States, it would be more west coast of Florida, the Gulf, and also more like central or northern Florida. Southern Florida is like South America, and it's everywhere. It's like any kind of major metropolis for New York or something. You just get people of everywhere. It's kind of, it's like, quote, the United States, but it's really just everyone that moves from everywhere, vacation spot. So super, super, super expensive, like any kind of popular area. Plus, the whole state's going to be underwater eventually. So you must get this a lot. But how long did it take you to grow out your hair and beard? I don't know. I didn't time it. I trim it and I cut it. I've had it long for my beard. I've had it for a few years. I've always had facial hair for a long time, but then I just grew it out probably 2 or 3, 4 years ago. Completely. I just grew it. And then I went way too long. And then I kind of figured out what length I like. But my hair I've had long for years and years. Lasto Kib on Instagram. When you're not working out or working, which I respect is a lot. Thank you. How do you spend your time? That's a good question. When I'm not working out or working, how do you spend your time? The honest answer to that is that pretty much sums up my life, whatever you just said. When you're not working out or working. If I'm not working, I'm working out. And when I'm working out, I'm working. Because a lot of times I'm filming content, I'm posting stuff, I'm writing down my workout so I can post it up in Swolenormous X. I'm thinking about content, I'm doing stories, I'm always working. Anyone that has their own business, that you're working 24 hours a day. It never really turns off because I'm always fielding questions. I'm answering messages on Facebook or Instagram. I'm kind of always plugged in. So I'm really never not working, but I know what you're saying. It's hard for me now. I used to love watching movies and TV shows, but I can't anymore. I can't use my time like that because I just see it as a waste. So I can't really unplug and enjoy it like I used to, which is kind of unfortunate, but sometimes I want to sit down like, oh, I would love to go and watch like a TV show. And it doesn't have the same enjoyment as it used to. Because I think, man, I could be using my time so much better than just watching fucking a movie or a TV show. But I like doing, yoga, meditation, taking the dog for a walk. I do like to go to the beach, even though I never go. And that's something that you'll learn when you move to Florida. You'll go to the beach. Hey, I want to be around the beach. It's so nice. I can go to the beach all the time. And then you end up never going to the beach. At least I don't as much. I need to. I want to. Oh, I want to. I'm gonna start doing a lot more stuff. I'm branching out and doing some. I'm kind of getting some things aligned, and I'm working on my scheduling and my time management. That's another thing that I always discuss when it comes to consistency. You need time management skills, and you need to work on your time management, and that's something that changes dynamically. I notice that one schedule that I set for one period of time, it changes. So time management is something that's very dynamic and fluid, and you have to be able to manipulate and change and be, I guess, mobile with it. It's not going to be the same all the time. So yeah, great question. But when I think about that question, I'm like, shit, I don't really know if I do anything else besides those two. Like working out is my free time. That's like, okay, I did this. I'm going to go to the gym. Cool. That's why I don't do a lot of filming, vlogging and stuff in the gym. I don't really work out with anyone. And when I'm in the gym, it's like I focus on my own stuff. That's like my piece. So it's hard sometimes, honestly, people, to film content in the gym because it distracts me from focusing 100%. If I'm setting up a camera or I'm talking about something, I'm not 100% focused on my workout. So I have to really sometimes not do any content because I need to get mine. I need to work out for me. I can't just make content endlessly because I'm not 100% focused. And then I'm not doing anyone a service, right? Because then I'm not focusing on my own fitness, not focused on my own training. So I don't get all of that, I don't get all of mine. I don't take care of myself enough if I'm not focused 100% on my training. And that weighs on me sometimes over the long term. So I've noticed that. So sometimes I don't film because I want to focus on my own shit, but it's usually my free time. Matthew Joel on Facebook. I always wanted that Bruce Lee body type with an extra 15 to 25 pounds of muscle. So you absolutely did not want Bruce Lee's body type. 25 pounds of muscle is a shitload. That's a completely different person. Just so you know, 15 pounds extra, 25 pounds extra, you're a bodybuilder compared to Bruce Lee. Oh, that question disappeared. All right, you have to post that again. I can't see it anymore. Sorry. I waited too long to get to that. Let's see here. Matt Lydell. Let's see here. When going heavy, when going heavy, I sometimes have trouble at the midpoint in deadlifts. To better this, would RDLs be? Is that English? Would RDLs be? Whoa, I don't even understand that. All right, let me answer the first part of the question. I sometimes have trouble at the midpoint in your deadlifts. Well, that's where most people will have trouble. You have trouble in that transition period, probably getting past your knees. That's usually like a struggle point. Now, when you have deadlifts, you can do different things like partial deadlifts. You can do rack pulls where you set the supports like around your knees or just below, and you can load up more weight. You get rid of that initial pull phase from the ground, takes more stress off your back, puts you in a more advantageous position, and you can load up more weight. So if you challenge yourself more during a part of the range of motion where you're stronger, it can help overload the muscles that would help you for the full range of motion, if that makes sense. But partial deadlifts and changing the range of motion and where that starting stress is and changing the load where your muscle and where that range of motion is the strongest can help you get through those sticking points over time. I want my exact body, just 25 pounds more muscle. I know, Brad, right? Good question. Hey, who doesn't want just, all I want is like, I want the Bruce Lee body type. I want to be absolutely shredded, but just like maybe 15 to 25 pounds of muscle more. That's it. I just want to have like the result of 20 years of hardcore training. That's it. That's such like that was a soft question. I feel like that question goes a little bit deeper. So I'd like to hear that again, reworded. I'm on episode 4, catching up big time. Only about 650 more to go before I'm up to date. Really, Jennifer? Oh my goodness, you got a lot to catch up on. I saw that you liked. I saw that pop up. You liked episode number 1, counting gains, throwback. Interesting. Okay, Joshua Hensley on the IG. What yoga should I do as a beginner? I've done some, but I've seen, but I want to do it right. Good question. I would recommend some studios. Some studios have intro classes. I have beginner classes and level 1 classes in Swolenormous X, so you can check that out on my website. Also, if you go to a studio, a lot of times they're all levels classes, and sometimes it's better for people to be in person at a studio, at least for the first couple classes, just so you can get adjusted. You can have someone that is looking out for you, that's helping you with the form. If you're going to do something at a studio, just recommend call ahead of time, ask, tell them you're a beginner, tell them that you're new, what do they recommend? And oftentimes they will point you to the best class to start with, or a certain instructor, X, Y, and Z. But, you definitely don't want to do anything more advanced, because if you're trying to catch up to the class too much, just never, no matter what, never try to keep pace with the instructor or anyone else in the class. Always go at your own pace, make sure you're breathing, make sure you're focusing on doing it properly, and take your time. So some people like doing it in person, some people like doing it at home, but you should always modify and adjust. Yeah, you can go on Groupon too if you want to do something in a studio. What is my favorite song? It's like, what's your favorite color? What's my favorite song? I don't really have a favorite song. I love Colder Weather by Zach Brown Band. I love ZBB. But I mean, it depends. If I'm working out, I'll have different songs I listen to, but I'll just go with that one. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Ginger Thunder 89. Ginger Thunder. What would be your advice to someone that is confused by too much information? Allowing yourself to be confused by too much information is a form of procrastination. You're not starting anywhere. You're allowing yourself to be confused rather than picking something and going with it. A lot of times you're not going to know what works until you try it and see whether or not it works. There is a lot of information, but the interesting thing is there is no more information than there always has been. There has always been this information. It just hasn't been accessible to everyone all the time. We didn't have cell phones and the internet and the ability to just get whatever information we wanted whenever. And now we also have the ability to post up whatever information. So you have correct information, incorrect, and then everything in between. And there isn't always a correct answer. So a lot of times what's right for one person might not be right for someone else. So if you have too much information, simplify things. What's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And start with one thing. Start with one thing. Sometimes it could be a friend's recommendation. Someone that you know did this, try what they did. It depends on, I just need some more context, but don't lean back and be like, oh, there's so much information, I don't know where to start. That's the whole thing. People just get tied up, worried about all the information that's out there rather than just fucking doing work and starting. So don't use that as a crutch. Is it weird that my right arm is smaller than my left arm? No. Most people are not 100% balanced. Most people have a dominant arm or limb. So you can counter that by focusing more attention on the smaller or weaker arm per se. It's from Preston. Another one. How much time should I leave between arm days? That depends on what your training split is. Are you doing like a chest and triceps? Are you doing arms on a separate day? How many days a week are you training? What are you trying to accomplish? What's your experience in the gym? Many, many, many more questions have to be answered before I can answer that one. But usually you don't want to train body parts consecutively. You don't want to do upper body, or you don't want to do total body every day. You don't want to do arms every other day. You need if you're training, if you're at least an intermediate lifter and you're trying to build muscle, let's just go for the stand. You're trying to build muscle. You've been lifting for a little bit. You have some basic experience. If you're training more than twice a week or every like 4 or 5 day cycle for the same body part, you're probably not training hard enough. You're probably not going with enough volume or intensity because you're training so frequently, because you're not really breaking down the muscle tissue enough to spur progress. And a lot of people don't just simply train hard enough. We like to say 80% nutrition, 90% nutrition, 20% exercise. I don't think that's the case. I think it's 100% both. And I think most people use that as an excuse to not put as much attention, as much effort into the training. I think training needs to be fucking brutal. If you want to build muscle, what we see in today's society, we have Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all these things. We see a lot of people that have great results. What we don't see is the fucking brutal training. Like, you have to train super fucking hard. You're not just going to go to the gym. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym, do some stuff and get results. Are you willing to bust your fucking ass and really literally beat your body up for years to get that kind of results consistently? Every day, your priority is your rest, your nutrition, your food, everything based on your training. And it depends on your goal. Not everyone has that lofty goal, but usually people are putting in moderate effort, 50, 60% effort, and they're expecting these 100% results, right? If you want the 1% of the results, if you want the few that have muscles, abs, aesthetics, all this stuff, and you're just doing some average program, or you're going, oh, I'm going to train 3 days a week and I'm going to do cardio and you're not all in. You're not fucking all in, literally. People have to realize most of these physiques that you aspire to have on Instagram, that's the too much information. You're seeing too much of this success. That's, I think, is the problem. It's not the too much information. It's the too much results, too much success that you see. Anytime you go #fitness, #fitfam, #fitlife, you might scroll through. I want you to think about this. You can scroll through on Instagram without fail 100,000 pictures in a row of people ripped, shredded, muscular, each different person, 100,000. Then I want you to do some math. I want you to take, and that's a lot of people. Wow, 100,000. Everyone's getting such great results. I want you to take 100,000 and divide it by 7 billion. 100,000 might be a lot by itself and it's all in your fucking face. But then when you divide it by 7 billion, there are a lot of people that aren't in shape, that don't look like that. You're just getting bombarded by specific hashtags from the elite few that have gotten results. Not to mention they put in a shitload of work. So you're only seeing the people that are getting amazing results. A lot of you aren't on like the severely, deathly obese, morbidly obese hashtag morbidly obese. Not a lot of people brag about that shit unless you're part of the fat acceptance movement. So you're getting bombarded by this small percentage, but it seems like a lot because every time you scroll and it feels like you're scrolling forever, you might have gone through 50, 60, 70 pictures, but that's an extremely small percentage. I'm not the norm. I'm not a normal person. I've been fucking obsessed with training for the last 18 years. Like, I'm not the average person. Nowhere close. My consistency and my discipline is nowhere. And there are people that are probably more consistent and more disciplined than I am, that are bodybuilders and this, and they take it to that. I don't take it to that level of like micromanaging, but I'm fucking on point all the time. That's why I can be so consistent and maintain this. And because I've done the work and the trial and error, and I've done it every fucking day. And it's such a habit that I don't even know I'm doing it anymore. It's just second nature to eat certain foods and not eat other foods and train at this time and do this workout and do that workout and listen to my body and back off and then go more intensely and eat more of this and eat less of that. I just kind of know it. I feel it, but I put in the work. I had to earn that kind of feeling. I had to earn that kind of introspection with my body. Holy fuck, the fat acceptance movement. I know. I don't want to get into that too much. That's going to turn into a rage. We can rage on that again if there's anything new with that bullshit. Keto for muscle gains, definitely not optimal. You're not going to see a lot of people doing keto and trying to bulk. I would not try to bulk on keto. Keto can be beneficial for fat loss or for weight management. It's short term, not necessarily long term. Everyone's different. But if you're trying to bulk up, if you're trying to build muscle, don't do keto. Don't. You can do fat adapted. I mean, I still eat. I eat a very high fat diet, but I definitely don't do keto. It's not required. That's the issue with all these diet plans and these diet fads. It's not that they are fads and they're fads and they don't work. That's not true. Genetically, some people are better with keto. Some people are better with X. Some people are better with different things. But it's the people that promote this shit as if it's like the be all end all of getting fucking results. Keto is one way. Fine, it's popular now. That's fine. Keto has its place. You could be ketosis, normally, even if you're not in keto, like your body will shift through different phases of metabolism. You could do keto for a couple months and then come back. Like you have to find what works best for you. If you've never tried it, maybe you want to try it. It's not going to kill you, but maybe you want to try it and see how you like it. You might fucking hate it. And if you hate the way you're consuming food, if you hate the way you're eating, you don't like the food, you don't feel good, it's not something you can maintain. So even if it does work, you're not going to stick to it because it sucks and you're miserable. So I am fortunate to have found the foods that I like. They work for me with my body. They work with my physique. I like to eat them. I don't have cravings. I just love what I eat. I have found what I like and my body likes what I like, which just works out. And I can eat it every fucking day and be happy. So boom, done. And I don't think about it anymore. I stopped thinking about it. I'm not experimenting. I'm not fucking around with shit. It doesn't matter. I don't have to. Save the brain space. Focus on more important things. Get off the food. Get off the food. You can make any kind of argument for anything you want. If you want to be a vegan, then go be a vegan. If you stick to it, you feel great, you love it, you look great, everything is wonderful and you're a vegan, then great. That's fantastic. Good for you. But then when you start preaching that being vegan is the answer to everything, then you cross the line and now you're just being a fucking liar. And you're just trying to fucking sell something. I'll never push my nutrition on anyone. I'll share my nutrition. I do that on my website on Swole Enormous X. I do that. I'll share my recipes that I use. I talk about my approach to my nutrition. I'll talk about what I eat. I do Instagram stories and shit when I'm not telling you, eat this, you'll get in shape. No, this is what I found works for me. I'm sharing it. That's why I love the elimination. That's why I love the trial and error process. However, and I said this many times, that trial and error process isn't sexy and it doesn't sell. Hey, You want to get in great shape? Cool. You have to test things and experiment. Oh, I'd rather just buy this diet plan and follow macros and follow and calculate all my calories. Fine. I think you should live in a world where you're not measuring everything you fucking eat. You should eat what you like, eat when you're hungry. And if you have certain goals of weight loss and weight gain, then you can start monitoring and eating a little bit less because, yeah, you need to have a negative caloric balance to lose and extra to gain. But bottom line, you should be eating the foods that work best with your body. Then you can monitor and adjust the quantity. What about the quality? What about what foods your body reacts best to that doesn't cause inflammation, that doesn't cause bloating, migraines, joint pain, insomnia, all these other things that can come from food, depression, issues with attention deficit, all these things stem from food. And if you're eating the right foods, then you can worry about the quantity. But people worry about the quantity before the quality. And that's why they're still struggling with weight loss. And that's why they're struggling with all these other health issues because they're eating garbage, just making sure they're not eating too much garbage. They're eating these like garbage, let's say 100-calorie packs of treats or this much ice cream or this much. People are just playing the numbers game, which is easy because, hey, you learn how to count when you're 3 years old. We all know what numbers are. So that's easy to sell and package. It's easy to sell. It's easy to package. It's easy to talk about it, but it's not the best place to start. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it doesn't have a function in your nutrition, but it's not the best place to start. And I keep on pushing hard on that. I don't hate calories. They exist. I don't hate negative or positive caloric balance. It exists, but that's not the first step. And everyone goes to that as the first step. And that's why people fucking fail over and over and over again. And it's enough. Enough already. Ugh. That was good. That was a good rant. I liked it. I liked the rant. I like it a lot. I like the rant. What was I going to do? I had something I wanted to say and I forgot. Oh, darn it. Shucks. All right. Well, those were great questions. Excellent. Maybe we'll do this more often. If you enjoyed this episode, how about this? If you enjoyed this episode, drop in the comments, send me a message. Let me know if you like this open Q&A, the Sunday Funday Q&A. I've done these before. Maybe that'll be something that we continue to do in the future. Maybe we'll do a Sunday Funday. Maybe Sunday will be like the kind of Q&A day, kind of chilling. Everyone has some time off. Usually people can join in and post up some questions. So if you like this episode, make sure you DM me on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook, let me know what's up. Samina Stupar, today is my last day of the first half of the elimination diet. Tomorrow I start reintroducing foods. Samina, make sure you keep everyone posted up in the private Facebook group. Make sure you post up about that so we can follow that. So we can follow you in there. Love it, man. Awesome. I like the Q&As. Look, you all know that when I do my content, I do the daily show, I try to take content questions too, but sometimes I'm on a roll or I'm talking about a certain topic and someone will ask like, well, what about this? What about that? And it's completely off topic. This way, at least all those questions that you might ask during the week that maybe I couldn't get to, that disappeared before I finished my rant or whatnot on one of the normal episodes, you can get your question answered. So my recommendation is follow me on Instagram so you see that sticker and you can post your question, and also just tune in. So I'll plan for this for the next Sunday and we'll do another Sunday Funday Q and Swole Q&A and we'll get that up. Remember, subscribe to the podcast, swolenormousx.com, and click on podcast in the main menu. And I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 899. Oh my goodness, everyone. Tomorrow is the last episode of the 800s. The last episode of the 800s. Wow. Wow. I feel like we just did episode 800. Didn't you? I feel like we just did like this whole like, wow, episode 800. I feel like that was literally yesterday. It was obviously 98 days ago, but fuck. Time is flying. Wow, it's absolutely flying. Crazy. So yeah, another thing, check out the new YouTube drop. Dropped a new video on YouTube. There's no secret to fitness. It's also on Facebook. If you didn't check it out, go like it, share it, comment. Absolutely. Even if you saw it on Facebook, go over on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, YouTube @Swolenormous, go check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe for more content, obviously more long form, which is great. You get a few minutes. I'll talk about different topics, different people, different things, concepts, and things like that on fitness. So go check it out over there. And I'll see everyone tomorrow for episode 899 of the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gangcast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleecast, and Slaycast in Zarel. Because, little burp. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Thanks for joining me. See you tomorrow for 899. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, your boy, Papa Swole, out.